Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spurs Up Show, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet. Today is Monday, February the 17th, 2020. On today's show, I break down a busy weekend in Gamecock sports. South Carolina basketball getting a huge win at home, Gamecocks baseball sweeping Holy Cross, some football staff changes, your listener questions, and a fantastic interview with former Gamecocks right-handed pitcher Reid Morgan that I know that you are sure to enjoy. Before we get into everything, this is a podcast brought to you by our friends over at New Ground Hard Nitro Lattes. Guys, if you didn't come to the tailgate, you missed out on Friday, but let me tell you about New Ground, this brand, this company, this drink. They are absolutely amazing. We had all the New Ground drinks out at the tailgate on Friday afternoon. Everyone loved them. Everyone that I've talked to, I've given them to, they love them. They're delicious. They're especially amazing if you're a big coffee drinker like me, but they are the best. They have two flavors, cafe latte and chai latte, which have 5% alcohol. So again, it's enough to enjoy it casually if you just want to be at home, if you want to start your day with it. I don't care what you want. You want to have it with some friends, but if you want to have a good time at the tailgate, if you're at a party, whatever it may be, it is perfect for any setting, guys. Like I said, they taste amazing as well, and there's actually a reason for that. They're made with real coffee and tea, natural flavors, real sugar. They're GMO-free. When you taste these things, you're going to taste the natural flavors. It's going to taste like a delicious drink. You know, a lot of times when you drink an alcoholic beverage, you're having to sacrifice taste for the buzz you're trying to achieve. Not with New Ground. These things are phenomenal. Again, you can't even really taste the alcohol in them in a good way. You taste all those natural flavors. You taste the coffee flavor, and it just tastes really, really, really good. It has naturally occurring caffeine in the cafe latte flavor, or you can go with the chai latte, which is caffeine-free. So you can find these drinks all over the Southeast, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and any stores like Harris Teeter, Publix, Total Wine, Trader Joe's, Food Lion, really anywhere, guys. If you can't find it, ask for it because these guys are everywhere and they are taking over. If you want to learn more about them, be sure to check them out at drinknewground.com and be sure to follow them on social media at drinknewground for new happenings within New Ground. Again, that's New Ground Hard Nitro Lattes imported from Holland, drinknewground.com, and follow them on social media at drinknewground. All right, let's get into it. All right, I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Spurs Up Show, as always. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. We have got a packed show. So much to break down. Basketball, baseball, football, literally covering everything on this show. Really, really do appreciate you guys tuning in. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. I want to start on the hardwood because, man, what a game. Gamecocks basketball finds a way to get it done, 63-61 over the Tennessee Volunteers. We're still alive, baby. We're still fighting. We are still fighting for the dance. This Gamecocks basketball team finds a way to come back, win an ugly game, win a sloppy game. You know, it's funny. Everybody I talked to about this game said, we didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to win. At the end of the day, who really gives a damn? You find a way to get the win, 63-61. Crazy how evenly matched these two teams were. Again, South Carolina wins 63-61. 30-29 after the first half, a back-and-forth second half. You find yourself down 7. You literally come back, eke it out, just finding a way. Shout out to this team and the character of this team. On a nightly basis, we continue to see what the character, what the makeup is like of these guys. You know, it's crazy. Again, there's been so many opportunities this season for this Gamecocks basketball team where it could have folded, it could have quit, it could have said, woe is me, it could have said, oh, we're not a good free throw shooting team, so whatever. It has never done that. It has never quit. It always continues to fight. And again, that's kudos to Frank Martin, the culture he's built. I do want to say one thing, by the way, before we dive into the ins and outs of this game, why South Carolina won, et cetera, et cetera. I want to say one thing, and this is a very, very, very small percentage of people. And I'm not going to call out any names specifically, but if you are a person on social media that immediately following a big win, because they only do this after big wins, immediately following a big win in any sport, but especially basketball and football, because those are the two sports I've been most critical of the head coaches. If your first reaction after a big win is to try to comb through someone's tweets and, I mean, literally the first thing, instead of celebrating and enjoying the win like a normal, rational human being, your first reaction is to try to call someone out on something they said or comb through tweets or, come after someone for something, bringing up negative things, whatever, like that is an indictment on you, not the person that had an opinion on the head coach or the season, 2 months ago. I bring this up because this happened at the Tennessee game. Obviously, we're all celebrating, happy. And you guys know my thoughts. Listen, I still think Frank Martin's a maniac. I still think he's a little bit of a psycho. Never said he was not a good coach, though. I mean, I called him a drunk uncle at a barbecue. I still love my drunk uncle, though. We love Frank Martin. He is crazy. He's a little loopy, but he's a damn good basketball coach. You knew his team would turn it on. I said that before over and over and over and over and over again. And you still have fans that want to come out. And like I said, it's only after wins, which makes it even more insane. People wanting to say, oh, you shouldn't celebrate. Oh, look, remember when you said this, when you said that. Like, if that's your mindset, that is more of an indictment on you than it is me. I feel for you. I really do. I feel bad for you. And I'm just going to let you guys know, if you DM me trying to say, hey, let me come on your show and let me debate this point to you, you better have more than 60 followers because there's really no value in it for me for you to do that. I just want to make that point and throw it out there, just how heinous and absurd and ridiculous that entire situation was. So if you want to disagree with my opinions and what I say, that's completely fine. But it's like people don't understand that an opinion can change and shift throughout the season, especially with the Frank Martin side of things. When I said and acknowledged, this is not me saying fire Frank Martin. I'm a Frank Martin fan and supporter. I think he's a good basketball coach. I expect him to turn it around this season. I said all of those things. Was I also tired of Frank Martin and his shit with the shoving the player and stuff early in the season? Yes. If he did that tomorrow, would I say that exact same thing? Yes. But he's still a good basketball coach. Never once said he wasn't. Never once did I say to fire him. There are just times where, he goes off and we kind of get, it's a little annoying. But he's a good basketball coach. So just saying. And then again, if I took every DM request from fans to come on my show and debate and argue, I mean, there would be no more guests. There would be no more show. It would just be fans trying to get 15 seconds of fame, calling in, trying to voice whatever opinion they might have. So if you want to call in, there's a voice line, 843-790-3377. You can leave your thoughts, and I'll play them on the air, and we can go from there. But, again, I didn't even mean to go off on a tangent on this, but if your first reaction after a big win for South Carolina is to be miserable, that is an indictment on you, not on me. So, throwing that out there. Again, let's get into the game. Sorry about that again. I did not mean to go off on that rant, but let's get into the game. Huge win for South Carolina. It's crazy. I really talked about every game from this point on is a must win, right? There's no point in me coming on every show and previewing these games and saying, hey, tonight's a must win, tomorrow's a must. Like, they all feel pretty much like a must-win type of game. That game Saturday night really had a March Madness tournament type feeling to it. Both teams, kind of on the bubble, sitting there in the middle of the SEC pack, needing to win these games. And the Gamecocks, again, finding a way. You get to 8-4 in conference, 16-9 overall. Meanwhile, Tennessee drops to 14-11, 6-6 in conference. Shout out to Mike Kotsar. God, how can we start anywhere else? Mike Kotsar, 13 points on the night, but more importantly, making the big plays when it counted. A guy, he played 38 minutes, guys. He played 38 minutes. I thought it was so ironic for this South Carolina basketball team that it comes down the end of the game, a team that has been so bad shooting free throws. And then we were bad again Saturday night. I mean, 19 of 32 from the free throw line, 59%. But hell, Tennessee only shot 61%. It comes down to free throws. And the reason we win is Mike Kotsar making free throws. I mean, who would have thought Mike Kotsar has pretty much become our best free throw shooter? I mean, it's crazy. It's insane to think. But shout out to Mike Kotsar again. I said it before that I was very skeptical of Mike coming in the season. All he's done is had his best year in Garnet and Black. It's been crazy and phenomenal to watch the the growth from Mike, how well he's playing. But, again, he finishes with 13 points. Jermaine Couisnard, ho-hum, doing what he does with 12 points. And then from there, I thought it was really well spread out. I mean, A.J. Lawson with 9 points. I will say A.J. needs to play better, 100% needs to play better, but gives you 9 points. You had Jalen McCreary gave you 8 points, Trey Hannibal with 8, Jair Bolden with 8, Keyshawn Bryant with 2. He's got to play better for this South Carolina team. He has, and I say that because he has so much potential. A guy that could be a double-digit points per game type guy. Keyshawn with 2, but then, Levesque with 3, but overall spread out a lot. It is crazy. I'll say this. It's crazy how similar Saturday's game was to the first time these two teams met. I really expected. I thought it'd be much more of an offensive explosion. I thought these two teams were in much different places than they were the first time they met. Nope. This game pretty much mirrored that first time. I mean, Tennessee shooting, the shooting was a little better. Give it credit. Tennessee shooting 43% from the field, 29% from three-point range. South Carolina shooting 40% from the field and 31% from three-third range. John Fulkerson, my God, the Fulkerson kid. 25 points for Tennessee. I mean, just he could not be stopped. I know a lot of people are going to sit here and probably ask me about the refs, guys. If we talked about the refs every single game, I'd feel like a broken record. I know the refs weren't good. I know they weren't. SEC refs stink in every sport too. Football, baseball, basketball, they're bad in everything. So, yes, the refs are bad. Moving on. But, just a huge game. I mean, South Carolina finding a way to win. A game you absolutely had to have. We knew that. And now South Carolina finds itself, you got a huge week coming up, obviously, with Mississippi State on the road. You got a huge game with LSU at home next Saturday night. The path is there. I really think the path is there to get in the tournament. I think it really is. I mean, especially if you can go 2-0 this week. But this Tennessee game to me really felt like one you had to have. You could afford to lose at Tennessee once, but you had to split. You had to win on your home floor. Again, I was more so impressed just from a team perspective. Just the character, like I said in the beginning, the character this team continues to show game after game after game. Again, you're down 7 late in the game. You have every excuse and reason to fold there and lose. You really do. And this team just shows a resiliency, a toughness. I think you've seen this team grow a ton as far as the maturity level. It's been awesome to see. I mean, it just has been great to see. I will say my heart absolutely dropped that last possession when South Carolina decides to foul, which I think was smart. The Vols are down 3, a foul, and they shoot 2 free throws, or they have to make a decision. When they missed that second free throw and they put that shot up, it was terrifying because he had a decent look. He definitely had a decent look. But like I said, all that matters in the end, you find a way. You find a way. Again, you can say they didn't deserve to win. Maybe you're right. We also didn't deserve to lose in Knoxville. So I think the two even themselves out. But you find a way to get the W. And again, now, ESPN on Sunday writing up its article, South Carolina, a team that has inserted itself into the bubble talks. And I think, again, rightfully so. 16-9 overall, 8-4 in conference. Big wins at Kentucky, at Virginia. I mean, South Carolina's got one of the most unique resumes in the entire country. So these last, 2-3 weeks or so going into the SEC tournament are going to be very, very, very interesting. No questions asked. But that win on Saturday night, I just think was a microcosm of the Frank Martin era almost, in the sense of a tough, hard-fought game, but his team's showing fight and resiliency and a lot of character. And I was just proud to see that. Shout out to the crowd as well at CLA. Phenomenal. Great atmosphere, great environment for college basketball. Again, I'm just so happy and so proud of this team. It's just crazy to think how far these guys have come since, losses to Boston and Stetson. But, still work to be done. Again, you take it one game at a time. I hate to sound cliche and have that type of approach, but a lot of work to be done at Mississippi State on Wednesday night. It's going to be a really, really big one. That's a 9 o'clock tip Wednesday night. And then Saturday night, I believe that's right. Yes. Saturday night, 6 o'clock against LSU. Going to be a really, really big one. LSU, obviously one of the best teams in the SEC. I think Mississippi State's another one of those swing games, but on their floor, going to be tough. We'll obviously talk about that one more on Tuesday, on Wednesday. But, just a great win. Just a great win. Again, John Fulkerson, I cannot believe went off for 25 points. But, again, in the end, either way, who gives a damn? A win is a win is a win is a win in the SEC, and the Gamecocks found a way to get it done. All right, let's move to the Diamond. South Carolina takes care of business against Holy Cross. Before we do that, though, guys. I got to talk about my friends over at Ag South Farm Credit, because the Spurs Up Show is brought to you by Ag South Farm Credit. Guys, most lenders don't understand land financing. Ag South Farm Credit specializes in land financing and has been doing it for over 100 years. They make loans for small and large acreage, hunting property, timberland, farm and pasture land, even home mortgages and construction. They have a ton of great benefits, including long-term fixed-rate financing for 20 years, down payments as low as 15%. They have competitive rates, and they pay an average of 25% of the interest back every year as what they call patronage. So they're cooperative, so they share in their profits with their member borrowers. So, guys, for example, on a $300,000 loan at 6.5% for 20 years, you would get back $2,770 each year. They have an experienced lending staff that knows land and knows how to finance it. Guys, whether you're buying a house this year, 2021, 22, whatever it may be, if you're thinking about buying land, buying a house, whether it's your first house, your dream house, whatever, there's a lot of different decisions that can go. And it's a process. I mean, it's a major process to do that. You got to make sure you have the money, number one. You got to get an agent. You got to get a lender. There's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. They got to look at your bank account. It can be a very stressful, strenuous process. Ag South Farm Credit, guys, they are that lender that you need. They're going to be there for you every single step of the way, holding your hand, answering all your questions, making the process really as super simple and super easy as it can possibly be. One of the questions they get asked most often is somebody will find a plot of land to buy, whether it's 20 acres, 30 acres, 50 acres, whatever it might be. How much would I need as a down payment, right, guys? Like, how much am I going to need up front money-wise? So typically they require a minimum of 15% down, but that'll ultimately be determined by term and other factors like your credit. So normally the longer the term, the bigger the risk, which means they like a little more skin in the game on your end. So if you do want any more information on down payments or anything else, give them a call, 844-AG-SOUTH, or visit their website, agsouthfc.com/TSUS. Again, that's AGSOUTHFC.com/TSUS. Ag South, an equal housing lender, NMLS 619788. So again, their website, agsouthfc.com/TSUS, or give them a call, 844-AG-SOUTH, and tell them Chris from the Spurs Up Show sent you. All right, like I said, let's talk about Gamecocks baseball. On the Diamond, South Carolina sweeping the Holy Cross Crusaders, getting the sweep. It's funny, I'm actually recording this Sunday after the Sunday game, and I am finally just now thawing out. If it sounded like in that first little segment there I was like stuttering or just what, it feels like my mouth right now is like kind of frozen right now. But no, so yeah, cold, miserable day on Sunday. But South Carolina, again, the main point, finds a way to get the sweep, takes care of business against the Holy Cross Crusaders. You take a look at this series. First things first, I want to say this. Now that the series is over, and this is taking nothing away from South Carolina, Holy Cross is not a very good baseball team. I've never seen a team, if you watched all three games, I've never seen a team in my entire life drop so many pop-ups that Holy Cross dropped. Listen, I know Holy Cross has probably been working out indoors for the last 4 months or so, but I've just never seen a college baseball team struggle so mightily to communicate in the field and just drop, just to catch pop-ups. So many drop pop-ups this weekend. Holy Cross is a bad team defensively. I think they had like 4 errors Friday, 3 Saturday. Didn't really get the chance to make any Sunday, but just a woeful performance by Holy Cross in the field. Also, another thing, Holy Cross, if there's any Holy Cross Crusaders fans listening to this or any Gamecock fans that want to write a note to Holy Cross, your pitching coach should be fired because the tempos of the pitchers this weekend, and what I mean by the tempos is basically just when you get the ball back from the catcher, how long it takes for you to get the ball back to the plate. Like if you watch South Carolina's pitchers, there's a rhythm to it. You know what I mean? Like you're taught as a pitcher to kind of keep it moving. You get the ball back, get on the mound, let's go. Don't take forever because the game centers around the pitcher, right? The game only moves as quickly as the speed of the pitcher. God, I mean, Friday and Saturday, not quite as bad Sunday, but Friday and Saturday, these pitchers are about to put you to sleep. I mean, the lefty on Saturday, what are you doing? Let's get it moving, my guy. So, brutal, the tempos. Whoever the pitching coach is, figure it out. Figure it out so other teams don't have to go through that madness that we just experienced. When you look at this weekend as a whole, switching to South Carolina, obviously you're very happy, very impressed. I mean, you get 3 big wins. I mean, the games, you felt like were never really in question. I mean, listen, again, now the series is over. South Carolina was a much, much better team. You should have won all 3 games. I mean, you start out on Friday, you win the game 10-0. Carmen Majinski, fantastic performance. He shuts it down. 9-4 win on Saturday, which the game Saturday had an eerily similar feeling to Friday where you have a big first inning, you chip away after, get the win 9-4. And then Sunday, obviously, with a lot to take hard to take a lot away, I should say, from it. But you get the win 5-0 on a really tough, rainy, cold day, but you win 5-0. So, there's really nothing to be upset about necessarily. A couple of things that I noticed that – not necessarily wave a red flag to me, but team average was 241. And again, you scored 10, 9, and 5 in half a game. So the offense did its job, but the team average being 241, you have 19 strikeouts. I will say hitting was my concern coming in the year. I think you saw a lot of good things at the plate. I think you saw a lot of new guys step up and have good weekends. Andrew Eister was seeing a beach ball. Braylon Wimmer, as a true freshman, I think really introducing himself to South Carolina fans. I thought Brennan Malone put together some nice at-bats. I thought Dallas Beaver put together some nice at-bats. Bryant Bowen obviously hitting a home run in his first at-bat with South Carolina. I thought you saw the approaches were a lot better. I thought it was a good mix. You didn't necessarily just rely on power. I thought South Carolina did a good job stealing a lot of bases. Noah Campbell, had 3 stolen bases in one game on Friday afternoon. South Carolina putting runners in motion a lot more, playing some small ball. But again, when you needed the home run, you were able to get it. But I want to see the average go up. 241 against Holy Cross pitching, not going to get it done. And again, I don't want to look too deeply into it, but I feel like we almost have to be hypersensitive after what happened last season. And again, it's only one weekend. And again, you only played a half a game on Sunday. So those averages all could have gone up. You could have scored more runs, whatever. Like I said, the only complaint I had on the Friday game really, and then the rest of the weekend was the strikeouts I think can be improved. But again, I'm so hypersensitive from the strikeouts a year ago because they were so bad. So I want to continue to see this lineup develop. I know they tinkered with some different starting lineups, some guys in some different positions, some guys in some different spots in the lineup necessarily. So I'm still kind of, obviously I'm still holding judgment on the hitting, if you will. I still think this lineup can be really good. I think you got a lot of fresh new faces that showed sort of what they're capable of this weekend. But, you just want to improve that average. Again, a 241 average it's again, you did what you're supposed to do. I will say one thing that kind of bugged me is people complaining and being annoyed after you win a game 10-0 on Friday night. I mean, listen, did they make 4 errors? Yes, but you took advantage. I don't care. 10 runs is 10 runs. I don't give a damn if you scored them on 10 walks. 10 runs is 10 runs. You did your job at the plate. But again, we'll continue to monitor, continue to watch this lineup grow and evolve, if you will. Again, I already talked about Braylon Wimmer, the weekend he had. He really stood out to me as a guy. Braylon Wimmer and Jeff Heinrich, 2 guys in the infield that I know Jeff didn't have a great weekend at the plate. I think he went like 0 for 4, 0 for 5, but really, really good in the field defensively. We now see why Noah has moved to outfield. Braylon Wimmer, unbelievable at second base this weekend. Unbelievable. Really stood out, especially the Friday night game. He had the opportunity to show off the glove, made a couple diving plays. He's a dude to me that is probably your starting shortstop next season when George Khalil is gone. 6'4" kid that runs like a gazelle. Runs like a gazelle. So really impressive, Braylon Wimmer. Moving to the pitching, I thought on the flip side the pitching was phenomenal. As a staff, I think you have a 1.57 ERA, staff ERA. I thought the pitching was great. We saw a lot of encouraging things. Starting with Carmen Majinski. Really, I think just setting the tone on Friday night. He had a great performance, looked like that true Friday night ace that South Carolina missed a year ago. Graham Lawson coming in doing some nice things after him. You take a look at Saturday. Brett Carey as well. He had the one bad inning where I think he just left the ball up, was leaving the ball up at the belt and the letters, which, he got punished for it. But 12 strikeouts in 5 innings. The kid's got good stuff. He's a strike thrower. Breaking ball really sharp, really, really good. Brandon Jordan on Sunday, again, tough to take anything away from that Sunday game, but in that limited action, he threw all 5 innings. He looked really, really good, spun the ball beautifully. He's a guy, like I said before, has a repeatable delivery, throws down in the zone in a downward angle, makes it tough on hitters, really sharp breaking ball, really just polished JUCO guy. And again, I've said that before, but you watch him, he does not look like anything like a true freshman or anything like that. Really, really polished JUCO pitcher. Danny Lloyd on Saturday, I told you guys all preseason, his shit is nasty, and it is. 95 with the fastball, 88 with the slider. Ain't nobody going to hit that. Nobody's hitting that. I thought Cam Tringali Saturday also showed he can be that middle inning guy. I think he's going to be very, very useful for the Gamecocks in that role, being that middle relief guy, if you will, able to eat up, whatever they need him to, 1, 2, 3 innings, whatever it may be. So overall, I was happy with the pitching. I really don't have any complaints with the pitching. I know Julian Bosnick through Saturday. I would just say the one thing, he needs to throw more strikes. That's a huge thing. But, as a whole, you judge the pitching staff, again, a 1.57 ERA. You gave up literally 4 runs in 3 games. And I don't think anybody is going to complain about that. And really, again, outside of 2 or 3 bad pitches that gave up those 4 runs, you had a phenomenal weekend on the mound, no doubt. You took care of business, and that is my really biggest key takeaway, is that South Carolina, simply put, took care of business. And I don't think it should be taken lightly by South Carolina fans because, again, you can certainly take this for granted and say, oh, Holy Cross sucked, blah, 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 whatever. But college baseball is a funny game. You look at Georgia. They almost lost to Richmond on Friday night to start the season. The Gamecocks was a team that, came in this year losing the last 2 opening days. So to come out, take care of business, says a lot about this team. Again, it's a success, definitely a team you should have swept, and you did. So kudos to the boys. Let's move into the TSUS Series MVP. Throughout the season, guys, I'm going to be doing Series MVP, who's hot, who's not, kind of like I did last season. So we'll start with the Series MVP. There were a couple different guys I threw around for this, but to me, I'm going to go with the guy, again, that I said in the beginning, set the tone for this Gamecocks baseball team this weekend, and that is Carmen Mlodzinski. I've been talking all fall, all spring, all off season about just what type of guy he can be for the South Carolina baseball team and the type of guy, simply put, that he needs to be for this baseball team. He did that and more on Friday night. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, no earned, obviously, 3 strikeouts. The dude, the stuff was big time. This is big time Friday night ace type of stuff. I told everyone, hey, if you can, buy yourself a ticket and get yourself down to Founders Park and watch this kid, Carmen Mlodzinski, throw the baseball. He did not disappoint. I loved he's got, the mound presence, obviously, the moxie, the tempo, like I talked about earlier on the mound, but the stuff, the cutter, guys, let me just say, the cutter's unbelievable. The cutter is unbelievable. 88, 89, moving. You can't see what I'm putting right now, but it's moving a good 6 inches. Just disgusting. Disgusting pitch to go with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that tails away, a devastating breaking ball, a plus changeup. he has the full arsenal of pitches, and that cutter is just going to add a whole different dynamic. Holy Cross pitchers, they had to be so Holy Cross hitters, they had to be so devastated when they saw this kid trotting back out there for the 7th, because really Carmen probably could have went the whole game. The pitch count, he kept it down, was beautiful. Really set the tone for South Carolina, though. I was extremely impressed. And again, after an offseason full of questions, fans wondering, what is Carmen Mlodzinski going to look like? Can he be that guy? He passes his first test. And again, like I said, a team that coming off such a bad year in 2019 and fans looking for something to feel good about with this baseball team, losing 2 straight opening days, I thought Carmen really took it upon himself to, again, set the tone and set the tone for the entire weekend. So Carmen Mlodzinski, my series MVP for opening weekend. All right, who's hot, who's not? We're going to start with who's hot. Got to go with Andrew Eister here. 3 for 9, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. Guy was seeing a beach ball this weekend. talked about in the preseason, he's a guy that I think could be one of South Carolina's leading hitters. He certainly showed that over the weekend. Again, 3 for 9, two of those 3 hits being home runs, and folks, they were bombs. If you either missed them or did not see him in person, they were bombs. Eister, just looking at him, I mean, a real polished hitter, a real veteran guy, sort of what you expect for him, but I'm really excited for what he's going to do this season and the rest of this season as well. Who's not, I hate to pick out one guy because there wasn't really anybody that had a noticeably bad weekend. And I hope he doesn't feel like I'm picking on him. But Brady Allen, 1 for 8 on the weekend, had a double, but 1 for 8. So a tough weekend at the plate for Brady Allen. Actually did not even play Sunday, so he could have gotten his average up had he played, but didn't play Sunday. But, again, I hated to even pick somebody, but kind of have to. Who's not? Brady Allen, 1 for 8 at the plate. You take a look at what's next for this team. Tuesday, you got Winthrop at home. Wednesday against PC. Both those games at 4 o'clock. A chance in the midweek, again, to continue to build, to continue to find out who you are, play with some different lineups. But overall, guys, a successful first weekend. I mean, you get the sweep. I mean, anytime you get a sweep, it's a great weekend. So, again, I think there are things Mark Kingston and staff can certainly look at. They can take a deep dive into, especially on the hitting side, and, improve on their teachable moments. I'm not freaking out over the hitting or anything like that. I definitely want to see improvements as we go through non-conference play. Because, again, if you're a team hitting 240 in non-conference, it's going to be pretty hard to convince me you're going to hit worth a damn in SEC play. But overall, a successful weekend, a fun weekend at the park for sure. You get 3 big wins. We had good weather 2 of the 3 days, Sunday obviously being very miserable. I was freezing cold. It was rainy. But, hey, you got to do what you got to do. You got to love it. And the Gamecocks get the win. You get the sweep. A good weekend at the ballpark, a good weekend at the office for the good guys. All right, let's talk a little bit of football. I do want to touch on this. This news dropped Friday afternoon, and I definitely do want to touch on it. So, contrary to what we learned early in the week last week, Brian McClendon did not get the job with the Steelers. It comes out on Friday. There was a Board of Trustees meeting to approve the new defensive line coach's Kurt Rocker's salary. I think I'm saying his name wrong, but Rocker, whatever. The guy from Tennessee approved his salary. He's making like $525,000. The bigger news out of that, and it's Newt Rocker, I believe. I do apologize. I'm actually going to Google this guy. I don't normally do this while I'm on the show. This is great podcast content, I know. Tracy Rocker. Where am I getting these names from? You know what I was thinking? I was thinking of Kumar Rocker, his son, the pitcher for Vanderbilt, because I was just talking to him about it, talking about him to a buddy of mine. Tracy Rocker. It was a meeting to approve Tracy Rocker's salary. I do apologize there, guys. But again, some other news coming out of that. Brian McClendon is returning as wide receivers coach. Bobby Bentley sliding back over to running backs coach. As you can all imagine, this got a very interesting reaction from the Gamecock fan base. Listen, I'm gonna keep this pretty short and sweet in regards to this because I'm going to re-emphasize what I said last week when I said that, guys. I think the assistant coach's deal it was getting overplayed a little bit last week. Like I said last week, I just don't think it's that big of a deal who you bring in and hire. If we go 8-4 or 4-8, Tracy Rocker is not going to be getting the credit or the blame for it. Simply put, just not. I mean, I want you to surround yourself with good coaches and have a good staff for sure, but I'm also not going to be the guy on social media, and I'm not going to be the guy on this podcast, guys, who's like, oh, my God, let me tell you how awesome this hire is and why this is going to be a game changer for the program. Like, nah, if Muschamp and Bobo don't do their jobs, and none of it matters anyways, and everybody's out the door. But I do want to speak on this because, when you lost Thomas Brown, it was a big loss, and you knew you were probably going to downgrade to some degree. But to put Bobby Bentley back in the running back coach position, is it not just such a typical Muschamp move? Is it not just such a typical Will Muschamp move? Is it not? I mean, do we really expect anything more from Muschamp? Brian McClendon returning, whatever. I don't dislike Brian McClendon. I think we're paying him way too much. I mean, $1.2 million for a wide receivers coach. I still find, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm still very skeptical he's on the staff in the fall. I mean, how tough must it be to show up to work every day when you were demoted? I mean, that's got to be a very big ego hit. So I think if he gets any sort of decent job offer, he's probably gone. Maybe not. I mean, I think it's kind of ironic that last week people were basically cursing Brian McClendon and talking shit about him and so happy he was leaving. And then now he comes back. It's like, okay, welcome back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's crazy in that regard. But that, whatever. Brian McClendon's back. Whatever. Is what it is. But Bobby Bentley to running backs coach. Listen, again, if we go 4-8 in 2020, I'm not going to sit there and blame it on Bobby Bentley. I'm not. He was on the staff last year. Hell, but I'm not going to blame it because, that switch from running backs or tight ends coach to running backs coach, that's what did it. That's why we had a bad 2020. No, I'm not going to do that. But in a year where you're going into, for a fact, a undisputable fact that your job is on the line, and you put Bobby Bentley as your running backs coach? Have we not already done this? Is there not a reason he got moved out of that position in the first place? Is there not? You're telling me you couldn't have found anyone else? And for those of you asking, well, why didn't he just fire Bobby Bentley? Well, let me tell you something about Bobby Bentley. Bobby Bentley is 1 year away. He's a state employee, right? He is 1 year away from getting the retirement package, plan, pension, whatever. And Will Muschamp's a buddy guy. He's a friend guy. He looks out for his buddies. He's definitely not going to do that to Bobby Bentley. But either way, the hirings, guys, honestly, my opinion, again, I sort of still stand where I stood last week in the sense that I'm not going to oversell you on how good of a hire this is, and I'm not going to, I guess, take shots at the program and say, oh, my God, this just proves that our program is in shambles, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's just such a typical Muschamp thing. It's so Muschamp that it hurts. It really is. It really is. And again, will it have really any big type of impact on the 2020 season? Probably not. But God, man, like you have a fan base that's just dying for you to do something to get them on your side. And you put Bobby Bentley back at the running backs coach position. Tough, very tough. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say other than that. We'll just see how it pans out. So, all right, got a few listener questions, and we have a phenomenal interview I can't wait for you guys to hear. Let's start with Andrew _the_ textbook. Can South Carolina win the series against Northwestern? Yes, I don't understand why they couldn't, but I expect them to win the series against Northwestern, no doubt. John King _Big John 1. Do you think we can make it to the College World Series? What about the March Madness tournament? I think the March Madness tournament is definitely more likely than the College World Series. I mean, you have to think with the College World Series, man, 8 teams make it. 8. Out of all the teams in the country, 8 get to Omaha. So, listen, I like this team. I think people saw this weekend why some people, including myself, are optimistic about this team. I think this team is going to be much better. I think this is a postseason team. But am I going to sit here and pick us to go to Omaha? No, absolutely not. Not at this moment. The March Madness side of things, this is going to be a big week in determining that. I mean, you have 6 games left at Mississippi State, LSU at home, Georgia at home, at Bama, Mississippi State at home, and at Vandy. If you can go 2-0 this week, boy, you are squarely on the bubble. Like, you are one of those teams trending in the right direction. So, I think it's possible. I think with 6 games left, if you go 5-1, you're in. I think if you go 4-2 and even 4-2 and then win a game or two in Nashville, you're in. But we'll see. I mean, I know you're on the bubble watch, but I think the potential is certainly there. Especially if, like I said before, Heck, A.J. Lawson didn't even have a great game Saturday night, and they still won. So you can get him rolling again. I think the sky's the limit for this team. I really do. So I think it's possible, no doubt. Last question. CP3 _ presents. Which player on this Gamecock baseball team do you think has the most to prove? I'm going to stick with what I said before the season. I'm going to say it's Noah Campbell. I mean, a guy that had a much, much better opening weekend than he had a year ago, where I think he was like 1 for 14 against Liberty, and he never rebounded from that. He hit 286 this weekend, 2 for 7 at the plate, had an RBI, had 3 stolen bases. So, I mean, overall, he had 5 stolen bases on the weekend. He had 3 on opening night. He was 5 for 6 on stolen bases on the weekend. South Carolina stealing 11 bags, by the way, over the weekend, which is really solid number. So a good opening weekend for Noah, no question. A good opening weekend. I thought in left field, he had the 1 ball on Saturday that he overran, and I think definitely made a difference in that inning. But Sunday had a really nice catch in the gap. I think he's learning that position. I still don't love him out there, to be honest with you, but he's a guy that, again, had a much better opening weekend than a year ago. I still say he's probably the guy, to me, out of everyone on this team that has the most to prove. Can he do it consistently and be a real contributor for this Gamecocks baseball team? But, definitely off to an encouraging start. I definitely think there were some encouraging things on opening weekend that will tell you that he maybe will break out this season. So we'll have to see. All right. Like I said, got a fantastic interview. Former Gamecocks right-handed pitcher Reid Morgan. Reid coming by the studio. A phenomenal conversation. First off, great dude. Reid is an awesome dude. If you ever see him around the field, get the chance to chat with him. Humble guy, just an awesome guy, really, really friendly. We had a phenomenal conversation just talking about sort of his path, which is a really interesting one. A guy that overcame so much adversity, battled through injuries, battled through transfers, landing at South Carolina. Almost fate would have it, as you say, him landing at South Carolina, doing what he did a season ago, now being with the Seattle Mariners. So a fantastic conversation, guys. Be sure to stick around for it. You're going to enjoy it, and it's all brought to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. Guys, whatever you need tickets to, whether it's Gamecocks baseball, basketball, football, professional sporting events, concerts, comedy club events, whatever it may be, go download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code SPURSUP. You're going to save $20 off your first purchase. Like I said, guys, they've got tickets to literally anything and everything, whether you want to go to the LSU game next Saturday, any of the Gamecocks baseball games over the next couple weeks. If you want to get your football tickets early, you want to go watch the XFL, you want to watch some MLB spring training games, anything, concerts, comedy club events, whatever it may be, SeatGeek has got you covered. They got a great ticket rating system which rates the tickets for you based on the type of deal you're getting. So, guys, never again are you get to scalp. You're going to have to worry about the tickets real, fake. Am I getting the most bang for my buck? Where am I sitting? What did the person next to me pay? On and on and on. They take care of all that for you. They do all the work up front so that when you click that buy button, you think to yourself, hey, I have peace of mind now. I know I'm getting the best bang for my buck. I know I'm getting the best value. All I got to worry about now is just enjoying myself when I go to the game or the concert or whatever it may be, whenever I go to the event. So, again, that's our friends at SeatGeek. Go download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code SPURSUP. That's SPURSUP to save $20 off your first purchase. All right, guys, enjoy this interview with former Gamecocks right-handed pitcher Reid Morgan. All right, joining us today on the Spurs Up Show, a man that played for Gamecocks baseball in 2019, went 4-6, but a 3.8 ERA over 87 innings pitched, 70 strikeouts, was really the leader of the Gamecocks pitching staff a year ago, and was drafted in the 13th round of the MLB draft by the Seattle Mariners, currently in the Mariners organization. Probably going to see him at the big league level sooner rather than later. Reid Morgan, appreciate you taking the time.
No problem, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you coming by. So I want to go ahead and dive right into it. Again, you're a guy that you did not go from high school, start your career at USC, nothing like that. You actually, out of the high school level, went to Oklahoma State, then went the JUCO route. Take me back all the way back to the high school days. What was your recruitment like, the recruiting process? When did you settle on Oklahoma State? What was that process like?
So going in I committed sophomore year, so it was kind of early for a normal high schooler to commit. I mean, back then it was kind of, for us, it was normal, but now it's kind of just different. But going through that sophomore year, had a really good summer. Good summer going in. The summer team I played with is kind of how I got noticed. High school really was a little bit, but it was more during the summer. had a really good summer. Recruiting started coming in, and I started getting kind of like anxious to like see what I can get, where I can go. Sophomore year, because as being young, you're just kind of like, oh crap, like all these schools are talking to you. So had a good summer. Went and visited Oklahoma State. I felt like home there. It was a school that, from where I grew up, it was kind of just like the same little small town area, to where it looks like, okay, I can feel comfortable here, be home. The coaching staff was awesome. Granted, one of the guy that recruited me, he had left and went to Washington State and was head coach there. Marty Lees was him. Then he was back. He came back this year, actually. Right. But him leaving kind of was like a real toll that took on me, because me and him connected very well. As a sophomore, he always kept up with me, kind of just made sure everything was good. Going into junior year, had a really good junior year, was committed already. Had a good junior year, and then during the junior year summer, elbow popped, had Tommy John surgery going into senior year. But then I was kind of like, are they going to hold on to my scholarship? Or are they going to keep everything? Or are they just going to drop me and I'm going to have to find somewhere else? They stayed with me, which was good. And it kind of made me feel more comfortable with them, because they stuck with me for the long time that I was not throwing, not doing anything. But so I got there, had surgery senior year, didn't get to do anything towards the end of the year. I actually played first base. It's the only thing I could do because no throwing. All I had to do was really catch the ball. I actually hit some. But
I was going to say, could you swing it a little bit?
I mean, kind of. I just kind of
pitcher hacks.
I could run. The thing is, I could run. So my coach would literally be like, all right, you're up to bat, bunt. And try to get on.
There you
okay,
go.
Cool. Sounds good. So I'd bunt, get on, and then steal. That's all I would do. But, I mean, it was hard going into senior year not being able to play your senior season. And it was difficult because you saw the year we had before, we were in the postseason, had a good team, came up short. And going into senior year, we had another strong team, had another good group of guys that we could go further. But with me getting hurt, it kind of just put a damper on everybody, and it was hard to figure out what we were going to do. So it was kind of hard to sit there and just look and watch. But going into Oklahoma State, it was the summer going in. I was still like, I think I was like 6 months out of actually like throwing live. And so I was still a good bit out. I went to Oklahoma State, rehab, did a bunch of rehab surgery, like post-surgery throwing, all this kind of stuff. But then come to the fall, I was like 18 months out when the fall hit. And I had never thrown in a live game. All I've thrown was bullpens. And I got thrown into the fire right away. And it was one of those things where I was kind of like, my confidence isn't there. Like, I'm kind of nervous. Like, what's going to happen? I'm scared to do these things. Kind of like, I have a mental block. And I was just like, you know what? I've got to do it anyways because I'm here. They stuck with me, so I'm going to do it and make the most of it. And I mean, I had a great time at Oklahoma State. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the group of guys that I met there probably be my close friends throughout the year.
Were you on that team that played in the Supers here, or was that the year before?
That was the year before.
Okay. I was just curious.
That was the year before I came, and I remember that because I went to the College World Series whenever they
went. Well, I was going to say, I know your good buddy Braden Well. We talked to him about that. He obviously that was his team, this Carolina team that got beat by them. So it's kind of ironic.
Me and him laugh about that all the time. But no, we actually went to the College World Series when they went, and went and watched, me and my dad, and then a buddy of mine that's with the Royals that finished out at Oklahoma State. We both went before we got there, and it was a good time. But going into that fall was just kind of like stressful. I mean, I didn't think my body was completely there, fully there, or like ready to go back into the game. Like,
and then mentally it just throws you off too. I mean,
and like, starting to spin stuff, like change-ups, fastballs, and all this stuff. So fall wasn't great, but we kind of worked through it. And I got through the fall, season started, and I didn't know what my role was. I was just kind of up in the air. Nobody really told me. I didn't really know what was going on. First weekend, didn't do anything, just kind of sat in the bullpen, just a normal bullpen guy. And then I finally got my first appearance. We were at ORU, and I've never been in an atmosphere full of fans, never been in a college atmosphere before, and don't really know how to feel it. So I started getting nervous when I first got on the mound. I started to learn how to control my breathing whenever I was like after Oklahoma State. But when I was there, I just didn't really know how to control it. I mean, it was hard to control the things that I knew I could do, but I couldn't do them because I was blocked mentally, just trying to figure out what to do. But so I didn't have a very good year there and didn't travel. I traveled to, I don't know if I did. No, I didn't even travel. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't travel. Just home games or just normal games. And I was trying to get a red shirt, but they blew that in the Texas. It was a University of Texas game.
Right.
It was a ninth inning. We were losing like 14-4. And I throw in that game and blow that. I guess it was bittersweet that they blew it because that gave me an opportunity to proceed to the next journey in my life and going to San Jack. I mean, I can't thank the guys at San Jack enough for what they did.
Really good JUCO too. Like really, one of the best.
It's a great JUCO. I mean, you learn so much.
Luke Little's there, right? That's one of the Gamecocks commits right now, which I highly doubt he comes to school, but what, 97 from the left side?
I looked the other day, their last game when they played, when he threw, he was up to
99. He's not coming. He's not coming.
He won't be here. But, I had a meeting with our head coach at Oklahoma State before they went to the Big 12 tournament when they won it that year before they went to that. And he just told me, he said, I think the best thing for you would be go somewhere else, go find the confidence that you have and go do better things. And right then and there, I knew that was probably the best thing for me. I mean, I could have stayed, but I wouldn't have gotten the opportunities I have now if I would have stayed because I would have just been another guy there that hadn't been able to throw. But going on into San Jack, I mean, as soon as I got told to leave, I mean, as freshman in college, like you really just don't know how to react to that, how to take it. And I took it as, okay, there's a plan for me ahead. There's a next step that I can go. And I called my summer ball coach. I was like, hey, look, this is what happened. I need some help. So he got on the phone. First school to call me was San Jack. They were first people to call me. And San Jack's not but 30 minutes from my house in Houston. So I went there, love the coaches. I mean, you can't beat the pitching coach there. I mean, he's a 15-year big leaguer. He played with the Cardinals. He's just a guy that you can't beat pitching wise. I mean, you learn so much. And I got there and visited, and I was just like, you know what? This is cool. Like, I like this. This is nice. So I went there. Throughout the year, we went to fall. The JUCO schedule is unreal. I mean, it's a full fall and a full spring. So, I mean, I definitely got my confidence to where I needed it to be in the fall. And I committed to Carolina in the fall.
When did they start recruiting you? Was it very early on?
It was early, yeah. I mean, I was going through at San Jack. I had a good amount of schools that have contacted me and a good amount that wanted me to come. And I took a couple of visits. I mean, I made the most of all my visits because Oklahoma State, I jumped the gun really quickly. Right. And I jumped the gun, and I didn't really get to experience the other schools. So I took my visits, had a good time while I took those. But when I came here, when Coach Current was the one who texted me, I was sitting in class, and I got a text saying, hey, this is Coach Current from the University of South Carolina. Or would you be interested in coming on a visit here? And right then and there, I was just like, yeah, 100%. I mean, you can't beat what they got going on here. I mean, but
and you knew, I guess Braden had played there too, right? So I'm sure that helped. That connection helped a bunch.
And then Coach Couch, he recruited me at University of Houston when I was in high school. So I had a connection with him as well.
Gotcha.
And so whenever he texted me that, the next weekend I came. It was an Arkansas game. The Arkansas football game is the game I came to. On my official visit. It was me and George. It was me and
nice. Very good.
It was me and him. And me and George have known each other through just because of junior college ball. I mean, we played against each other, kept in contact with each other and stuff like that. But coming here, I mean, it's second to none. I mean, you can't beat what they've got going on here. You can't beat the town. I mean, everything about it made me feel like pretty much at home again.
Right.
And I found a school that I feel at home.
Right.
And the coaching staff was nothing but welcoming. I mean, they literally made me feel at home, and I loved every bit of it because I didn't get that my freshman year. So I had a bad taste, and I knew what I wanted.
Right.
I just had to find it. And I found it with Coach Meade, Coach Current, Coach Lake, Coach Kingston, and Coach Couch. Like, those are like, they made me feel like a person that will do things here and help out what we got going on here. And I mean, it just made things so much easier on my decision.
Right.
And going to the football game, I mean, he made it even better. You can't beat a game like that in Williams-Brice.
Right.
You can't beat it. And I went to multiple games before I even came here. Baseball games. I went to LSU game. And I mean, the fans there, the atmosphere, you can't beat any of that. I mean, honestly, you can't beat the SEC as well.
Yeah. Getting the chance to prove yourself on that level. I want to talk about the injury real quick, because obviously, again, earlier in your career, you dealt with a lot of, injury adversity, if you will. Did that affect you, like, mechanically down the road? Did you change up the way you threw it all? I mean, it was because I was impressed last year with you as far as, like, you had a very simple, repeatable delivery, I feel like. But, I mean, I'm just curious with the injury, like, did you have to change yourself mechanically or philosophically even coming back from that?
So I used to be straight over the top in high school.
Right.
I mean, I was straight over the top, and whenever I had surgery, I mean, I still was at Oklahoma State. I was still over the top. I was never where I'm at right now. And I don't know what it was. I think it was not last year. It was at Sanjak. I think my arm slot just kind of slowly went down.
Right.
And I just everything felt comfortable.
Right.
And it didn't feel like anything was like pulling or anything.
Right.
My mechanics kind of stayed the same. It's just my arm slot went down.
Right.
And so, and it made things a lot better for me, and allowed me to get more of what the sink on my baseball that I have when I throw. I mean, it allowed me to be more effective with the arm slot that I'm in now. And I just rolled with it. I mean, ever since I went down, I hadn't thought of going back up or anything like that mechanically. I hadn't changed much.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely a guy where everything you throw moves, obviously, which is kind of your game. So talk about, you get on campus at Carolina. You know, it's funny because before this season, this was the first season where I've been able to go to scrimmages and see everybody and really have a much clearer picture of what, the lineup's going to look like, starting 9, rotation, all that good stuff. So I was going off what other people were saying last year, and they were saying, hey, there's this Morgan kid, and you think he's probably going to be a reliever somewhere in the bullpen. You come out, you're a weekend starter. And then obviously as the season goes, Carmen unfortunately goes down. You take over the Friday night role. I mean, when you got to Carolina, was there necessarily a plan for you? Like, did they say, we see you in this spot, or was it just kind of wide open, go kind of take the spot, go take whatever spot you can get? Or, I mean, and I'm curious too, have you seen yourself more as a starter? Do you feel like you were a bullpen guy when you got to USC? I mean, like, what's in that regard? How'd you approach that?
Coming in, I was told that I'm going to be right with Sawyer.
Right.
I'm going to be right with Sawyer, right in the back end of the bullpen.
Right.
And it's going to be both of us in that back end, that middle to back end of the bullpen. And I rode with it because that's all I've done.
Right.
I mean, at Sanjak, I had one spot start, and that was
Right.
it. But coming in, I was just like, okay, I'm going to be in the bullpen. I'm going to be where I feel comfortable. And then a week before opening weekend, Meade calls me. He goes, hey, you're starting on Sunday, so get your body and get you mentally prepared to start on Sunday.
Right.
And I was like,
I mean, you'd probably been throwing like 2 innings max in scrimmage, maybe 3. I mean,
I'd probably throw 3 innings max, and I had no idea. I wasn't thinking anything about me starting. I thought it was just to see if I can be a deep bullpen guy.
Right.
To eat up innings. Had no intentions of starting at all. But when he told me I was going to start, I just took it as, okay.
Yeah.
I've got to do it. I mean, I can't say no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, coach. I want to be in the bullpen. That's where I feel comfortable. So I just took it like a grain of salt, and I just went with it. And I mean, it's going in every role. I threw Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Yeah. You literally threw them all.
Yeah,
I mean,
I did every single one, and honestly, I mean, I enjoyed every bit of it.
Right.
I mean, I enjoyed getting thrown into the fire, saying, "Hey, you're starting Sunday, and your first ever SEC, first SEC, not really game, but like atmosphere against Liberty." I mean, and I was just like, you know what? Okay, let's do it. I mean, I was just kind of one of those. I was just like, all right, I got to do it, and I might as well ride with it and do what I can do to help us win.
Right.
And I took that mentality the whole entire season is no matter what role I was in, I was going to do whatever I could to help us win. And granted Carmen going down after Clemson, yeah, that was tough.
Right.
I mean, that hurt us a lot. And you know what? I mean, you guys got to pick the pieces up where they fall and go with it. I mean,
yeah. And I was going to say, just speaking on that Clemson series, I mean, that was what, your third ever start. You know, before because I feel like the thing fans all want to hear about is the stare down. I mean, I feel like that's kind of your claim to fame at this point. But how much did you know about the Carolina Clemson rivalry when you got here? I mean, I'm sure, again, Braden had some conversations with you, but did it maybe help you being a guy that wasn't like an in-state guy? And so maybe you were a little more calm, relaxed. I mean, just kind of what was the approach to the Carolina Clemson baseball? Because I'm sure you found out very quickly just how intense it was.
Talking about it right now, I get goosebumps because of the feeling that I had when that game was going on. I mean, I'm not knowing much about it. I knew it was a big rivalry. I mean, I knew because prior to me coming here, I saw videos when they played when Adam Hill threw. That Friday night. And me and him had conversation about it as well. And obviously Braden, he was telling me all about it. I mean, he was telling me how much hatred he has for them. And I was just like, why do y'all hate him so much? And then I kind of looked into it. I was like, okay, I see why now. We hadn't beat him in 4 years.
Right.
There hadn't been a series win in 4 years.
Yeah. Yep.
And right then I talked to TJ, and I was like, TJ, how long has it been since y'all beat him? He goes, since I've been here, we hadn't beat him. Yeah. We had not won a series. We got close. We've never won it.
Right.
Yeah. And then right then I was just like, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's been long enough. It's been long enough. And we won that Friday night game. As soon as we won that Friday night game, you win the first one, you're guaranteed to either try to sweep or win a series. You're guaranteed. So we won that Friday night game, and I knew I was throwing Sunday. And right as we won that Friday night game, I mentally locked in after that Friday night game to say, you know what, if it comes down to Sunday and we're at home, it's game over.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely game over because you come into this atmosphere with the fans in that rivalry. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There you can't beat it. I mean, they had their 2 home games is what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
At the Drive Stadium.
Good way to put it.
Their 2 home games. And they're going to have Carolina's going to have their 2 home games this year.
Yes. I can't wait for that.
You're literally right down the road. Yeah. But going into that Sunday game, I mean, emotions were definitely high.
Right.
I mean, they were that morning. I think I got to the field like 4 or 5 hours before the game. I mean, I couldn't stay in bed.
Right.
Like I woke up and I was just ready to go.
Right.
I mean, my emotions were high because all the seniors I was there, Chris, Olsen, TJ, like those guys, like they never beat them. Yeah. Since they've been here. And that's something that I like to do because they brought me in here. Right. As just another guy. I mean, they're friends of mine, great friends. I mean, and I'll always be friends with them. Right. And they brought me in like I was family to them. And so that made me want to do something for them and also do it for the state of South Carolina and our fans. And so it was awesome. I mean, I sat in the locker room for 4 hours just thinking about it. I mean, I couldn't sit down. I couldn't do anything. I mean, I was jittery as can be, just like I normally am on a start. I get on the phone with Braden, start talking to Braden, and he's just blabbing his mouth as he always does, saying how much he hates him and this and that. But it kind of got me to where I was like, you know what, it's time to go. Like it's game on. Yeah. And hearing the whole thing that went on before Logan Davidson, all that crap. Oh yeah, all that crap that went on. I mean, we didn't really look into it much. Yeah. But obviously we heard it. Right. I mean, you can't help but hear it. We're all on social media. You're gonna hear it. Media's gonna ask you about it. You know. And we didn't really talk about it much in the locker room, but I took that as the culture we have here. Yeah. The culture that they got there. They can say they have a better one there, but I know damn well that we have one here. Yeah. That's a lot better. And that put a fire under my butt and said, you know what? They're not going to beat us at home. Yeah. And it's just not something they're going to do. I mean, it's something everybody's been waiting for the last 4 years. Mm. And it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, before we speak about, your start, what was the more badass moment, your stare down, or I feel like the moment that's forgotten in that series is Brady Allen hushing the crowd in left field. That was, I was lucky enough to get that clip, and I think I've posted it probably 100 times. That is. And I mean, he's a true freshman, and I just saw that, and I was like, because I was at the game, and I was like, did he just do that?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, when he did
and it wasn't even 2 outs.
There wasn't even 3 outs. That's what's funny. That's what made it even funny.
He's like, did you forget how many outs there were?
There wasn't even 3 outs yet, and he did that. And I was just, I was sitting in the dugout, and I was just like, what did he just do? And then I was just kind of like, and then Kingston started was like, what just went on? Like,
yeah, I was like, Kingston has to be ripping him right now, or either that, or he has no clue what just happened.
The funny thing is, he didn't get chewed out. He just got, as Kingston he'll never chew you out. I mean, unless you did something really bad, he'll never chew you out. He'll always teach you rather than chew you out.
Right.
He'll teach you the lesson of saying, hey, I know it's a big series. You got to control your emotions. Control those. Just don't let that happen again. Don't do that again. You know now.
Right.
Don't do it. And he would never yell at him. I mean, and that's the thing that I loved about Kingston is he was always straightforward with you. He would never yell, never get mad. He would teach you. He would teach you what's right and what's wrong. And he would make sure that you're on the right path. And with Brady doing that, I mean, it's a life lesson. I mean, you learn from it, and you know not to do it again. Yeah, your emotions are high, and he's an out-of-state kid too. Right. I mean, he was just as much as I was aware of this rivalry. Right. And the emotions got to him. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things. And same with me with the stare down. I mean, that was the second inning. Yeah. Like there. I don't know what it was. It was second inning. Like, I guess what clicked to me and what really got me was that he took more time than I could ever think. Right. I could have walked around the whole field once or twice before he got to the bat. Yeah. And that kind of fired me up and made me be like, okay, you're not going to walk and take your time on our field and try to mix up my rhythm. Right. Because that's what I'm about. I'm about rhythm, and I'm ready to get going as fast as possible. Right. No, I told myself, I said, he's not going to take his time. And it was an 0-2 count through a slider. And right then, as soon as he swung was when all emotions just let out. And they just let out. And it was, I mean, I still go back and look at that video. Yeah. Because it's just one of those things that you can never put down. Right. It's one of those things that will be with you forever. And I mean, when I got after that game, I got back in the locker room and looked at my phone, and I think my phone blown up. Yeah. I mean, it was just retweet after retweet after retweet. I was like, what the hell is retweet? Yeah. I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. That's what happened. But no, that was it got right after that too, and we just blew up. Yeah, I'm about to say I feel like it was like 5-0 the second too. I mean, Luke goes off at the plate. I think Eister went off. TJ went off that weekend. Obviously, again, I know the emotions were high for you, and I will, obviously confirm what you already said is just being there in person. I mean, he took it's a good 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. I mean, a good 20 seconds. And I think, too, coming in that game with the Davidson comments, I forget the kid's name, has the R State thing written on. It's like, at some point, the disrespect just has to stop. It's got to stop. So, that was a badass moment for sure. I mean, they definitely got their fair share of us on that Saturday game, and they got everything they could out of us. I mean, there was times where we were just like, okay, we might have a chance to win on Saturday. We might have a chance. There's a chance. But we all knew. I mean, like, I went back and looked at the interview with George and Lloyd and Kingston right after that game, and George goes, Reid's on the mound. We got his back. Right. And right then I was just like, okay, I can make mistakes, but I can't make mistakes. That first inning when they scored that first run, right then and there, I went into the dugout and I looked at Carmen. I said, Carmen, they're not scoring again. Right. They're not. I'm sorry, but they're not. And he's on his crutches. And it's funny. I was just like, okay. But I told him, I said, they're not scoring again. And we went on with it. And it's fun to pitch when you have that many runs on the board. Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. You can, especially in a high intent game with the atmosphere that you're in. 10,000 plus people at that game. Like, emotions are high, not just for us. Yeah. For the coaching staff, for the fans, for everybody that's diehard South Carolina. Right. Emotions are high. It's all the pressure's on them at that point. I mean, it's, And the pressure's on them for them to try and come back, but
Right.
you can't come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've heard Kingston say all fall and spring play the odds, because the odds are they're going to get out.
Yeah.
The best hitter is going to get out 7 out of 10 times.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's like, with the stuff you have, the movement, it's like, I dare you to go ahead and hit it. Go ahead and put it in play.
Hats off to Davidson. I mean, late innings, he got a hold.
Yeah.
It went into the visitors' bullpen. I mean, but at the time then, I knew we had it in the bag.
Right.
I knew we had that checked off. I mean, that was a goal that we had checked off, was to beat Clemson. And once we beat them, golly, that was probably the most that standing ovation I got after that was probably the best thing that I could ask for, because of all the ups and downs that I went through, coming from Oklahoma State to San Jack, the journey that I had, and then being able to do what I did against Clemson. Yeah. And let the fans know that we're not going anywhere. Right. And them being behind me and everything was probably – just is memorable. Right. I mean, I'll never forget what happened. I go back and watch the video multiple times, and it gives me goosebumps every time, because I've never got to experience something like that. Right. And it's cool to be there with my team and have them up front. I mean, Graham Lawson was the first person out of that dugout. Right. I mean, there's a picture of me and Graham that is probably going to go up on my wall in my house one day. Mm-hmm. Of me coming off the field and us hugging each other. I mean, that's probably the best picture that I've had. And it's just cool to have a family that that has your back and you can lay on to if something happens. I mean, I'll never lose contact with any of these guys here. Right. And it's cool to have that, because I really didn't have – I had good friends at Oklahoma State and I had good friends at San Jack, but I never had a good group of guys that I stuck with and kept in contact with. And I mean, I was just with Ridge, with Chapman. Right. I was just with him. Me and him were with each other every day. I mean, we're driving to Arizona together from here. Right. So it's just something like that. Like, we get to enjoy. We went to the concert with each other that other night. Right. Things like that. It was just things like that I like to do with my friends. And having that as a team made it so much better. Right. So in that series you brought up earlier, but Carmen goes down and just a freak. I've never seen anything like that. It's just a total freak injury. How much did you take it upon yourself to be kind of that guy? I mean, again, you pitched on all the roles all weekend long, but I mean, you sort of took over as that Friday night guy. I mean, how much did you take? Was it an immediate thing where you're like, I'm ready to step up and be the guy, or like, what was that? Yeah, no, when Carmen went down on that Friday night, when he went down and so Clemson really doesn't have a big training area. Right. You can take them in. It's their dugouts right here, and then you can just go into the little training room. Right. I sat there with Carmen. Mm-hmm. I mean, I sat there with him whenever he got hurt, and our trainer came in and checked him out, and I went out. But then when he was sitting there by himself, I went there and sat with him. And we just had a normal conversation. Right. I mean, he was talking about it, and he told me, he said, it's your time to be the guy. I mean, whatever happens with me, you got to step up. And right then and there, when he told me that, I was just like, okay, now it's time to go. No matter what happens, no matter what role I'm in, I'm going to step up and make sure each game that I throw, we have a chance. Mm. And I'm going to put us in a good spot to where we have a chance. And I think my best outing in SEC play was Auburn. Right. I mean, 7 shutout innings. We shut out Auburn. Mm. And that was just, I mean, it was just one of those things where I just took it and ran with it. Right. So I didn't really dwell on it or sit on it very much. Mm-hmm. I kind of just, right as me and Carmen had that conversation, it was just kind of one of those things that clicked. Right. And I went. So. And I don't want to dwell on the negative, but I do want to get your perspective, because again, you're a guy that's gone through and overcame a lot of adversity. I mean, obviously the season last year did not go the way you guys wanted. I agree with you. I think the loss of Carmen certainly affected that, but it wasn't like it was a bad ball club. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things I felt like where it came down to just 1 or 2 at bats or 1 or 2 pitches, seemed like every single weekend. I mean, to give you guys credit, you guys battled. I mean, you guys battled and fought through it. Won this, I think won one of the last series and fought your way into Hoover. And I mean, just, when you look back at that season, again, it doesn't go the way you want it to. But I mean, obviously you're in pro ball now. What were maybe some of the lessons you can take away from that? Again, as a guy that you overcame the injury adversity and then you overcome the adversity of last. I just feel like that's got to be something where, again, it doesn't go the way you want, but it builds a lot of character. There's no question. Because that team, you guys fought. There's no doubt that team never quit fighting. Yeah. No, I mean, obviously it didn't go the way we wanted it to. I mean, we started 14-1. Yeah. Yeah. And regular season, then we got into SEC play, and that's kind of when things kind of went downhill. I mean, not really downhill. I mean, we kept each other in the game. There was just one bad pitch. Right. Yeah. One mistake that was made in the field. just little things that caused us more than just what it really could have held. I mean, it cost us a couple games, cost us a series. I won't forget the Tennessee game when we go into that Sunday game. I mean, pitching was we did good. It was just little things that could have fixed.
It seemed like that was the big story too. It was like it never clicked together. Like if the pitching was good one day, the hitting was bad, and then the opposite. It just like for whatever reason, it was just one of those years.
I mean, we never lost hope in each other. We always trusted each other no matter what. I mean, every time if we lose a series, we come to the locker room. I mean, nobody would ever dwell on what happened before. Right. It was always, what can we do to get better this next week? And we were all for each other. I mean, we never lost confidence in each other. There was just little things that could have been fixed, and not having it's hard to not have a healthy bullpen as well.
Right. Oh yeah.
You got Graham out. You got Ridge out.
Sawyer was out.
Sawyer. I pretty much what I said was Gage Henson and Sawyer were one pitcher combined.
Right.
But they never lost heart either, both of them, and I don't know how they did it, but they did. Every day would go out and put it in the work just like everybody else would.
Right.
And it's hard not to have a solid bullpen.
Right.
I mean, we had a solid bullpen. It was just young.
Yeah.
We're just really young.
I mean, last year you asked so many guys to do things that maybe they weren't ready to do necessarily. I mean, like a guy like Danny Lloyd I look at this year, who I mean I think is going to be one of the better – I think he's going to be a lot better. You know, a lot of people haven't seen, obviously, the scrimmages. They haven't seen his stuff. And, I mean, you know, watching him, I'm like, this dude could be electric. But you ask him to do stuff last year that's like he's a true freshman. I mean, you throw him to the fire and – you know, you get a mixed bag. I mean, it's just, you know, it's no shame in it. It's just, that's just how it goes.
We had a lot of young guys last year, which, hey, that's okay if you have a lot of young guys. They just got to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that the injuries we had were going to happen.
Right. Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Graham was out already, but this year he's coming back healthy. I mean, he's going to have I already know he's going to have
his stuff looks unbelievable.
He's going to have a great year this year, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited to watch. But you got, Brett Carey stood up. I mean, he came in, and that kid is unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Daniel Lloyd, I mean, he didn't have a great year last year. There was good times and there was bad times.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, just watching what he's done and how he progressed throughout the summer ball with the Bananas, I mean, all that. I think him going to summer ball was the best thing he ever did because he found himself. He found out how to be the kid he is and the pitcher he is. And he got out of his shell. And, I mean, he's like a little brother to me. I mean, that I've taken him under, and me and him talk to each other every day. I mean, and it's a good thing. I mean, he has come a long way. I mean, his stuff has become elite.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
Mean, he learned how to throw a cutter. Probably the best thing that's ever happened to him.
Is that something I want to ask you? Is that something Meade is that because I've noticed a lot, because I see Carmen throwing a cutter too, and I think it's Andy Peters. Like his ball's got a lot of cut on it. It seems like a lot of our guys have implemented the cutter, which I think is a great idea.
Coach Meade likes guys that know how to can throw it and have the arm slots for it.
Right.
He's going to try and put it in there.
Yeah. It's just a great equalizer.
Just have something else to throw in there.
Yeah.
And another out pitch. You've got a good changeup. You got a good slider. His Daniel slider is unreal. I mean,
it's wipe out.
Then you throw his cutter in there. I mean, those are two pitches that you can get guys out.
Yeah.
That will stay off a fastball. And I mean, he's going to have a great year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I don't even have to say anything about that. I mean, he's going to have a great year. What everybody's seen in the fall, seen this spring, him and Graham in the back of the bullpen this year is going to be.
Yeah, I feel really good about it as well. So I want to go back to you. Obviously, you're drafted 13th round by the Seattle Mariners. I know you were a guy that was kind of going back and forth between coming back and going. And just talk to me about kind of that decision, which I think it was the right decision for you to go. Obviously, with hearing the injury history and everything, but just I guess talk about you get that call. What went into the decision, and then just kind of give us an idea of what it's been like for you. At the minor league level, what you've learned so far, what you're working on, stuff like that.
No, yeah, it was very it was stressful. I mean, the 3 days of the draft is probably the most stressful I've ever had. And I mean, I've talked to TJ about it too, and Olsen. Ridge really didn't know what he was doing, but I'm happy for him that he got picked.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was stressful. We were all talking to each other those 3 days, and it was just one of those things that was like, when is it going to be our time? Like, when are we going to get the call?
Right.
And I was on the phone constantly with my agent, just asking, like, what has he heard? Like, what are you hearing? This and that and this and that. And he said, when I asked, after day 2 was over, I called him. I was like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, what's the deal? Like, I thought it was going to be a later day 2. And he was like, they think you're better off in day 3. I was like, okay, tell them to get me off the board as fast as possible. I said, I'm tired of sitting here waiting. I said, I want it to happen so I can enjoy it.
Right.
And not have to stress.
For sure.
He calls me. It was the Blue Jays. Blue Jays were about to have their pick in the 13th. And it was actually after the Mariners too. And he said, hey, you're probably going to go to Toronto, so just be ready. It's like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Like, I felt good that there's somebody that's going to grab me. Not but 2 minutes later, he calls me and goes, hey, you're getting picked up by Mariners in the next 2 picks. As soon as he said that, that was probably the best feeling I've ever had. I mean, I was sitting there with my family, and it was enjoyable because I've worked hard throughout the journey that I went through, and not having what I had at Oklahoma State, Sanjak, could have gone out to Sanjak, chose not to, came here, had a great year here, and got to, and now I'm in a profession that not a lot of people have.
Oh yeah, for
not
sure.
a lot of people do, and it's just one of the. I mean, it's a gift. I mean, I can't thank God more for the things that He's done for me, and the path that He had for me. I mean, it wasn't a fun path, but in the end, it's probably the best thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
And it was great to experience that with my family. I mean, they were nothing but supportive throughout the whole entire time. I mean, me, my mom, my dad, my sisters, and my brother, like, they were excited. I mean, it was one of those things you can't take away, and you'll never forget. And it was a great feeling to just know that I never have to go through the draft process.
For sure.
Because that was stressful. and it was cool, too, because seeing TJ get picked in the 9th, like seeing his name get put on the wild. I watched every day. I mean, because I knew I had friends that were going to get drafted. Seeing TJ's name up there, I was just about as excited as I was when I got drafted. I mean, seeing Barry Hill's name on there, I was happy there too. Olsen, Ridge. I called Olsen when he got drafted, and he was crying. Yeah, it was emotion. I mean, it's an emotional roller coaster, is what I call it. But it's a great feeling to know that whenever you get that call and you get your name picked, that's when you know, like, not really you made it, but like you're there.
Oh yeah,
you're close. Like, you're one step closer to your goal and your dream that you dreamed of when you were a young kid. Right. But no, whenever I got drafted, it was like not but 3 days after I flew out to Arizona. Right. Was it rookie ball for you? We went to mini camp. Okay. Those 3 days, it was our mini camp. It was kind of just like physicals, kind of practice, not really practice, bullpens, physicals. And the third day that we were there, I flew out to short season. Right. In Everett, Washington. And we flew out there, and I was there for a little bit. I threw a handful of my innings there to start off with, and then I got called up to high A in Modesto. Threw a couple innings there. It was kind of just a spot. But I called my agent. I was like, what's this supposed to mean? Like, does this mean I'm staying there? He goes, it's a spot start, but, like, you got to realize you're obviously one guy that they wanted to bring up there to put up there because they see that you could potentially be there. All right. And every time I got called up or called back down, I never really took it to heart. It's kind of one of those things where, okay, I got called up. I'm in Modesto. I'm going to do my best. Yeah. Threw 2 innings there. Did very well. Actually faced Jonah, which was funny. Who won that battle? I did. He grounded out. There you go. But no, it was cool because, I mean, facing him, a guy that him and Adam were my host on my visit here. Right. Both of them were, and getting to face Jonah was fun because we go back and forth on who wore 20 better. But of course. It's one of those things. I mean, but then going to West Virginia, and I was in West Virginia for the rest of the season, which was in our low A affiliate in Charleston, West Virginia. Right. I mean, that's where I ended up finishing, and I've learned a lot going through pro ball. I mean, it's one of those things where you teach yourself now. I mean, you've got your coaches and your managers and stuff like that, but it's more you have to teach yourself.
It's truly your craft at this point, yeah.
Yes, it's truly what you need to know what to do to get better. So, like right now during the off season, like I know I've got to go work out every day and throw and get better before I leave. Like I leave in less than a month.
Right.
And
what specifically are you working on? I mean,
just so at the end of every year they have a player plan for you that we sit with our pitching coordinator for, and he talks to you about like what he wants you to do, what they want you to do, what they see you doing. And right now they just want me to kind of occasionally go up in the zone and not mainly live down.
Right.
Because
change the eye level
change eye levels up and work on my slider not being as sharp, but being more side to side.
Gotcha.
Which meaning is starting at the hitter's hip and just sweeping across, pretty much a sweeping slide.
Right.
And but those are kind of the two things I've really been working on. It's kind of going up in the zone and having my slider. But it's been good though. I mean, I think it's good that I can go up in the zone and change the eye levels. And he said, whenever I got off the phone with him, he said, you have a chance. You can come into spring training and you can do those things and we notice them and you have a good spring training. You potentially have a bullpen spot in Modesto, which is our high A team.
Right.
And starting there would probably be that'd be the best thing for me. Starting there. I mean, I wouldn't be mad starting in West Virginia, but at the same time, I wouldn't be satisfied with it.
Right.
Because
of course.
I know I can start in a higher level.
Right.
And being there is just one step closer.
Right.
I mean, in our organization, our AA team is pretty much our big league team, and being in high is just one step closer.
Right.
But I've learned a lot. I mean, I've learned a good amount. I mean, it's definitely a culture shock.
Right.
When you get into pro ball. I mean, you're with a different group of guys, but there's a lot of guys from the Carolinas that we have one of my buddies that went to North Greenville. He was there. There was a shortstop there. Another one that went to Wake Forest. Our first rounder was from Elon. Like,
oh wow,
just guys like that. Like, I connected with very well, and we all know guys that I know and stuff like that. And it's just it made things better knowing that like I had a group of guys that I kind of hooked up with, hung out with, and made pro ball a lot better. I mean, road trips are awful.
Yeah, I always say it's the PB&Js and the bus rides. That's a real thing. People don't take.
I can sleep anywhere. I've learned to sleep wherever and anywhere and make myself. There'll be times where we're on a 10-hour bus ride back home and I'm in the crack of the freaking chair. Just sleep.
I mean, you have to, right? It's either that or you don't sleep.
We had guys getting pool floaties and blowing them up and putting them on the bus. It was things like that. I mean, you find a way to get through the bus rides. Which
right.
I feel like the bus rides build character. I mean, it's something that you're working for to get out of the bus rides to where you fly everywhere.
Right.
And that's your goal.
Right.
We always tell each other, let's make it to where we don't have to be on the bus anymore.
Right.
Maybe for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it to where we don't have to be on the bus anymore. But pro ball's been fun. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's cool that this will be our first spring training. And a lot of the guys like TJ and Barry Hill and Olson and Ridge, like they'll all be in Arizona. So like we're not but 30 minutes apart from each other. So
that's awesome.
We're gonna have a lot of good downtime that we can go and hang out with each other and go play golf and do things like that. So it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for spring training. But then I'm ready for season to get started too, because I'm getting bored.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I want to get your perspective, obviously, on this 2020 season for Carolina baseball, because obviously, I mean, you're going to have as good a perspective, if not better, than anybody, seeing as you were on the team last year. I mean, you know this team is good, if not better, than anybody else. And you've been around the club, and I've seen you at the field a bunch. I mean, you know the guys. We were just talking off air, obviously the JUCO guys, some of the grad transfers, whatever. You know, when people ask me about this team, and, you know, we could go into the details. When they ask me, the one thing I say is I would be floored if 2020 went like 2019 did, like with all due respect, you know what I mean? Like I would just be shocked if that type of year happened again. I mean, I'll tell you, I fully expect this team to have a huge bounce back year, be back in the postseason. I think Carmen's going to be that dude. I think Danny's going to be that dude at the closer spot. I think we've got bats. We've got guys, some of the grad transfer, Beaver and Bowen, I think are going to absolutely tear it up. And then a lot of the guys that were thrown in the fire last year, you know what I mean, that I think those lumps are going to sort of pay off this year. I guess, what would you tell the the fan listening that, doesn't obviously know this team nearly as deep as you do, like what to expect from this club in 2020.
They're going to be good. I mean, they're stacked from 1 to 9. I mean, lineup is stacked 1 to 9. I mean, you can't put a guy in there that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not going
I
to.
mean, I my projected lineup that I had, it was like I'm like 2 through 7 can go yard.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I mean, you can put anybody in any spot with this team, and they're going to do their job. I mean, they're coached well enough to know that this is big boy baseball. I mean, the new kids coming in, it's big boy baseball. I mean, you don't get any better than the SEC, so you got to come ready to go. But no, they're going to be good. I mean, their lineup stacked.
Yeah.
From 1 to 9, it's nothing but power.
Yeah.
Guys that can bunt the ball, and they're scrappy. I mean, they're going to be a scrappy team. Pitching staff wise, Carmen obviously, he's going to be a dude. I mean, just from what I've seen and what me and him have talked about, he's in a different mindset now than he was last year.
Right.
I told him last year. I said, well, actually, I told him this year. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, it might have hurt us last year. You getting hurt, but that's the best thing that happened to you.
Right.
I told him, I said, it's the best thing that could have happened to you because you got stronger.
Right.
Your arm got stronger.
I mean, he's throwing harder. I mean, he's throwing harder.
You got stronger, and you're mentally there.
Right.
You're stronger mentally now because you don't want that to happen again.
You're a guy that can attest going through injury just mentally toughens you up. You have to overcome it. You just have to.
You don't have a choice. You have to tell yourself at the end of the day that it's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, it's not like. I mean, I told him. I said, it was a freak accident. Nobody knew it was going to happen. You didn't even know.
Right.
And it's just something you got to take with a grain of salt, and you just got to move past it. And he did. I mean, he has come back stronger than he has before. I mean, he's throwing the ball a lot harder.
Right.
And I mean, there are JUCO guys that have come in. I've talked to a good amount of them, and they're going to be good. They're going to be good. I mean, with 2 guys going down, I mean, that just means the bullpen's got to step up.
Yep.
I mean, that's just. I mean, you're going to have guys that get hurt. I mean, that's
just sports. I mean, that happens.
That's sports in general. I mean, it's life in general. But the guys that are the new guys have got to step up. I mean, Danny's like I said, Danny's going to be unreal out. He's going to have a great year, and then moving into his draft year. I mean, I hope he has a great year again because the sky's the limit for that kid. Yeah, I
mean, with the stuff he's got, no question.
The sky's the limit for that kid, and he's nothing but good. I mean, he's an athlete. He's gained a lot of weight, and he's gotten stronger. I mean, from his freshman year and how he looks now, it's just unreal. And Graham being back, that back end of that bullpen is just going to be nice. I mean, you got Tringali too.
Yeah, I like Tringali, like that middle relief 7th.
You got Shook. Shook can be that middle relief just as well. And I mean, you got Coyne as well.
Coyne's look good too in the spring. He looked really good. He's like that sneaky good guy.
Yeah, he's the returners this year are going to be better than they were last year.
Yeah.
Really. Brett coming back as well. Brett's going to be. I mean, obviously, this is what I've said. Brett's going to be our number 2.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think he's a Saturday guy for sure.
Carmen and Brett. You're 3 guys up in the air. I mean, that's how it always is. I mean, your Sunday guys never made until the week before.
Yeah,
because there's always conversation of what's going on.
Is there a guy that has stood out to you? Because to me, like I'm sort of like following along with what you're saying as far as like from just watching. There's a lot of candidates. I don't know if I could sit here and say there's one guy that's really taken the role. You know what I mean? Like,
I've heard multiple guys just from talking to the team what they think.
Right.
Farr could be in there.
Yeah.
Peters could be in there. I
mean, I was thinking Peters probably as well.
Guys like those 2 guys. Yeah. I mean, they could be potential Sunday guys. I mean, I haven't really got to see Farr throw very much because I guess he was hurt earlier, but I haven't really got to see him throw, but I've heard he's good.
They're Peters and Farr. I know 2 guys they're really excited about.
Yeah. I've seen Peters throw, and Peters he throws the ball very well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a polished junior college kid. I mean, just like any junior college kid should. I mean, they're polished. I mean, they know what's going on, and they know the roads of college baseball. I mean, they know how to work it, and that's a good thing to put up. I consider them vets. I mean, granted, they haven't been in the SEC yet, but they've been through college.
Right.
and they both came from good junior colleges, so they know the competition that they're coming into.
Right.
So those two guys could be my candidates for being that Sunday spot. But I mean, the pitching staff is just they're gonna be good. I mean, Meade works at them every day and stays on, and him and Sawyer both. I mean, Sawyer's now, and then one of the helping Meade out, and he'll be coaching first. So
right,
that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be good. Make sure to give him hell.
No doubt.
No, they've been working with each other, and he's made sure that they're all locked in and ready to go for this weekend. I mean, I've stood in on multiple practices with him and just listened and watched from a perspective that I haven't seen before.
Right.
Because I've always been used to being down there, being with all of them and seeing everything. But he makes sure they're gonna be good. All the new guys, they're ready to go. And I mean, I'm in the locker room almost every day because I'm there working out, throwing, so I get to see the interactions with everybody. And I mean, the group of guys that they have there, they're becoming stronger together than that. Like last year, what I say last year is there was times where like we weren't together, and there was like guys that didn't really hang out with each other, and then there was guys that did hang out with each other. So it's kind of like two different teams. But there was times where we all came together and we did things together.
Right.
But this year's team, I feel like they're more outgoing with each other. That way, that's what's going to make them better.
Right.
This year than what we had last year. I mean, last year I'm not dogging last year at all whatsoever, but there was just some little things that could have been fixed. More guys come together and hang out with each other more and kind of grow as a team rather than grow as individuals.
Right.
But I mean, that's what I see in this year. I mean, they're going to be good. I mean, I'm excited for them to see what they got going on. I mean, a lot of freshmen in there, but a lot of junior college kids too.
Right. I mean, you never look at the competition, and I mean, you're a competitor. You're saying, I don't give a damn who lines up across from me. I'll throw the ball across the plate. We'll do it. But is it not crazy? Like, I mean, you guys are taking on, like, you look at the schedule this year. You got to go to Athens. You got to go to Vandy. You got to go to LSU. And I mean, the arms that these guys are rolling out there. I mean, the Hancocks, the Rockers. Like, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, we've given all our predictions and our projections for the season, but we're going to find out really quickly when those SEC series come around. Like, you better be ready to go.
And that's what I was with Bowen and Beaver last night, and I was talking to George as well, and I was telling them, I said, y'all are going to find out. George knows. I mean, George has been through it. I told Beaver and Bowen, I said, y'all are going to find out what kind of team y'all are.
Yeah,
when
fast.
When SEC play hits.
Yeah.
And when y'all face Hancock, when y'all face Kumar, Wilcox. I mean, when you face those guys, you both better be strapped because they're not going to let anything go. I mean, they're going to come at you with everything they got.
Yeah.
That's how they are. I mean, every SEC team, from the day y'all start SEC play to the last game y'all play, it's going to be an absolute grind. Yeah. Because the SEC stacked again this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And going to Ole Miss, going to LSU, going to Athens, like things like that, going to Nashville, like. Yeah.
You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You got
to beat them at their place.
Yeah, and that what you said again about Carmen last year. Like, it's to me, like, I think he's probably the most important piece this year because, man, if their guy's throwing 97, you better just have your horse. You know what I mean? It's just a different feeling. You know what I mean? With all due respect to when you were starting, by the way, it's a different feeling when you got your guy going up against their guy. You know what I mean? Like,
and that was with me last year. Like, I felt like I was going up against every single guy, every single team's dude.
Hey, you got to throw in front of a lot of scouts. I mean, if nothing else, it benefited you probably. So,
and I mean, when we played Vandy at home, going against Kumar, that was just that he's good.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Yeah, and you're not, like, as a pitcher, you're not facing the other pitcher necessarily. But you can't just help in the back of your head be like, you know what the other guy's doing. I mean, it's you're watching him. I mean, it's just, again, it's just wild the arms you see on a consistent basis.
And that's why the SEC has so many draft picks every year.
Yeah,
because of the arms they have, the talent they have in the field, just everything. And I mean, you look at Arkansas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This year.
I mean, the West. We just kind of changing gears a little bit. I mean, just the West, though. I mean, there's 5-6 teams that could win that division alone. I mean, there's 7-8 teams that could win the SEC. I mean, which is the crazy part when you take a look at it.
I mean, A&M's going to be good again this year.
I think there's six of the top 10 are SEC teams. So I mean,
A&M's going to be good again this year. I mean, they were good last year. They have their number one guy coming back.
Right.
I mean, Georgia Georgia's got their number one guy back.
Right.
Andy's got their number one guy. Auburn's got their number one guy
Yeah.
coming back.
Auburn's going to be good. Yep.
I mean, LSU, I haven't really looked at LSU much. I have buddies that go there, but I mean, they've always got good arms.
Yeah. I mean, their team is, they're always going to, I look at almost them like South Carolina. Like, we always have talent. You got talent.
You
like,
got talent. I
yeah.
mean, you're a storied program just
Right.
like we are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just as, not, I wouldn't say just as storied as we are because we have 2 national back-to-back
Yeah.
championships. But the talent they get, it just
Right.
it's the talent we get. And I mean, you're gonna find out who you are real fast. And that's how I was. I found out who I was as a pitcher real fast.
Yeah.
And what I had to do to get through the SEC. And I mean, I say low A baseball is SEC.
Yeah.
Bottom line. I mean, that's the SEC.
Right.
I mean, you've got guys. I mean, I've faced a bunch of SEC guys this year.
Right.
I mean, just going through the system, and it's. I mean, this conference is not easy. It's not. It's fun, but it's not fun sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got guys coming out just like last year with Vandy, you got Blue Day, Austin Martin, like guys in that lineup.
You can't take a hitter off. There's just no chance.
You can't take a pitch off whatsoever.
Right.
Because if you take a pitch off, that could be the pitch that you make a mistake.
Right.
And the whole game turns.
Yeah.
And that's like with the one we played Florida, that game that Friday night. I mean, I feel like to myself, I took a pitch off, and that one pitch was the game changer.
Right.
I mean, what changed the game. But I don't know. It's going to be. I'm excited.
It's nothing else. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we're weekend after weekend. Again, you really get to find out who you are. I mean, like I said, overcoming that adversity, like, you get to grow up real fast. So 2 questions I'm going to get you out of here. One of them, I want to ask you this. Is your dad the scariest human being on planet Earth?
Okay. Everybody thinks he's scary. But
just looks-wise. I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's a scary dude. Me and him have definitely had our conversations together.
Right.
And he has become very scary to me whenever I'm like that. Whenever me and him were fighting with each other, he's a very scary human being.
Right.
At the end of the day, he's the nicest guy you ever meet. I mean, he's awesome.
You almost got like the Stroman 2.0 dad. I'm sure you've seen Marcus Stroman's dad. He's like a beast too. It's just so funny because you'd be at the park last year. Everybody's like, Reid Morgan's dad's here. It's like, I think I can pick him out of the crowd.
That's what I always tell him. I call him. I tell him. I said, if there was a crowd of 100 people, I'd be able to immediately. But no, me and him go back and forth all the time with the Auburn game when he got more TV time than I did.
Yeah.
And he was on TV more than I was on TV, and they talked to me about that when I was on SEC Network. They asked me about that, and I was just like, he would be in one spot and then go to the next spot.
Yeah.
He would never sit down. I said, Dad, you got to sit down. I said, and I could hear him every time.
Yeah.
The Clemson game, 10,000 people. That's the one person I would hear. And it's just because I've heard it all my life.
That's the one that sticks out, man.
And it's funny that I heard him, and it's the same thing he says all the time. And I know exactly that's him, and I know where he's at. And sometimes I get pissed off. Like one time during the game, I literally told him to be quiet because I heard him so many times.
Can you repeat what he says or not?
No.
Okay. I figured.
One of those things.
It's one of
those. But I mean, sometimes I don't really. I've gotten so used to it.
Right.
But it's all out of love. I mean, he just wants me to succeed, and he's literally made me the man I am today.
Right.
Everything in life. I mean, he's been the best supporter that I've had. I mean, my mom as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they both have definitely made my life a lot easier and have supported me and let me go and do what I wanted to do and pursue my dreams. And I can't thank them enough for what they've done.
For sure. So last question I want to get you out of here. Just looking back at last year, obviously your year at Carolina, favorite story, best memory. I mean, is there the funniest story with Kingston or something? Is there anything sticks out that is airwave appropriate, obviously, or that you want to tell? But just overall, I guess the one thing that sticks out from your time at USC.
Carmen's going to hate me. We were at my house last year, and we were all just having a little get-together and stuff like that, hanging out. And it was, I think it was like 34, 35 degrees outside. There, where I lived, there was a pool, like our neighborhood pool, right behind my house. Carmen runs out the door. Everybody follows him. He strips down, butt ass naked, just jumps in the pool. I said, Carmen, what are you doing? He goes, I don't know. I said, I just wanted to do it. It was kind of cool. I got video of it and everything. That was probably the funniest thing I've seen out of Carmen since I met him.
Yeah.
Everybody was laughing. He just made everybody laugh. I mean, that was one of the best memories that I had. I mean, just that sticks with me. That will always stick with me because you just see big Carmen just cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll have to whenever he gets drafted or whatever, we'll have to get him on the show and get his side of the story, like what was going through your mind there, sir. But I was gonna say if there was Columbia TMZ, they would probably pay good money for that video.
100%.
Yeah.
It was definitely.
Or maybe you're just saving it for a rainy day when he gets the Garrett Cole contract. It's like, oh, by the way, this is from college.
This is college. Yeah, that was funny. I mean, there's a lot of stories a lot of ones that I'll remember, but can't be told. But I mean, I learned a lot being here, and I've gained a lot of good friends.
For sure.
It's been nothing but, I mean, especially now. I mean, they let us do what we did last year. I mean, the facility is we get to use it.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the coaching staff here is
right. Seems like they're very opening to like all, obviously you guys, but like all alumni, everybody that's contributed to Carolina baseball, what it is.
They're open arms, and they literally let us use the cages when they're not, I mean, obviously when they're not using it.
Right.
Times like that.
Yeah.
But if we ever need anything, need to get into the field late at night, like stuff, Kingston's always on call. I mean, every coach is. I mean, Kingston, every day, he'll tell us, if you ever need anything, just let me know.
Right.
This is your home. Make it your home. And it's just cool to be able to, as alumni, come back and have something to a facility to use that's unreal. I mean, you can't beat the facilities here, and be able to use that as pretty much yours, like you did whenever you were here.
Right.
So it's been cool. I mean, it's been fun to get back here. I mean, I miss it obviously. That's why I come back so much. But I mean, I'll be here next fall. I got one more semester of classes. So
nice. Okay.
I got knocked out.
One more season of Carolina football?
One more season of Carolina football. That's what I tell myself.
One
more season of Carolina football. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's cool. I still get my tickets to football games, so I can't.
You can't beat that. You can't beat it.
But it's been fun. I mean, this fall was fun. I mean, it was different because I wasn't in season, but I definitely got to meet a lot of the new guys.
Yeah.
And my favorite new guy probably is Colin Burgess.
Yeah.
Funniest kid.
Yeah, little guy. He's scrappy though. He's pretty solid.
He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. I mean, he's him. It's going to be him and Beaver.
Yeah.
Behind the plate.
Yeah.
This on weekends.
Yeah. No. I mean, I watched Colin in the fall, and I was like, this is probably our best at that time. I hadn't seen enough of Beaver. I was like, this might be our best defensive catcher.
Yeah.
Like his kid's a stud.
His hands are really good, and that's what's going to let him catch as much as he will. His bat will come around as you get comfortable with what you're seeing. But catching-wise, he has the best hands, I think. And Beaver's got great hands too.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, that their pitchers are – I've talked to Carmen. He says, I can't – I mean, if I were to pick, those two would be the ones that I would throw in I throw to every day.
Right.
And I don't care which one's catching.
Right.
So it's been cool to meet all the new guys and give the guys that I was here last year a bunch of hell, especially Daniel and Carmen.
Yeah,
but it's been fun
for sure. Well, Reed, really do appreciate it, man. I know I can speak for all Gamecock fans. Say it was a pleasure to watch you sling the rock last year, and let's definitely do it again sometime.
Yeah,
man.
sure,
I appreciate you taking the time, man, for
Thank
sure.
you.
So for Reid Morgan, I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on that episode of the Spurs Up.